With the first pick,
Hey everybody, Conor Dorney, just baseball here at day 2 of the MLB Draft Combine. I am joined right now by right-handed pitcher from Oklahoma State University, Sean Youngerman. Sean, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So for some of our viewers who might not be familiar with your game, can you kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, out of high school, wasn't a crazy recruiter or anything like that. Knew I had to develop, so I went to what was my first year? It was the same school actually, but the first year called Westmont College. And then my first year, we won a national championship, got the opportunity to develop Division II. My second year, developed even more, and then decided that I wanted to go make a little bit of a change and kind of go somewhere where I could continue to develop.
And how, going through that process and going through a lot of different, levels of competition, if you will, what was your mindset kind of going in and knowing, especially ahead of this season, that you're going to play in a major conference, major program, that kind of thing? Did you feel like you had to adjust your mindset a little bit, or do you feel like you were kind of locked in and kind of staying consistent with the process that you trusted before?
Yeah, I mean, I feel personally like I was locked in and I was ready to go. It's definitely a change, but I think that it's a minimal change if you prepare yourself for it. Getting the opportunity to go play summer ball, where I was able to play my first 2 years playing summer ball, both gave me that opportunity to make whatever adjustment might have needed to be made. And but no, like I felt pretty confident going in.
Yeah. Now, obviously you're not thrown here this week or anything, but seeing everybody out there, seeing the competition, is that the back of your mind, I wish I could get out there right now.
I mean, a little bit, but I'm happy just doing medical meetings and making sure my body's fully ready to go when that time comes. So.
Right. Now, obviously, a big part of this process for teams is getting to learn who a player is off the field. So what are some of your passions away from the game, or what you're trying to convey to teams in these meetings that you have?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm not a go out and do a bunch of stuff type of guy. I'd rather spend time hanging out with my family and friends at home, or go to the beach or something like that. And, off days, if I got that kind of time, I'll go play some golf and just kind of relax and enjoy the day. And because you're gonna go back out there the next day and compete, so you got to make sure your body's recovering and not doing bad things. So
right. Now, do you feel like your golf game, when you feel like your intensity that you bring on the mound, do you feel like that translates to your golf game as well, or is that like the relaxing competition element for you?
I think when we have friendly competition while we're out there, it brings it out of me. But if not, I'm just relaxing, because you can't have any sort of emotion, I feel like, when you're playing golf, because I feel like either way it's either going to go really bad or really good.
Yeah. I know that for myself, I don't play very often, but no matter what my emotion is, the ball is going right off the tee.
Yeah.
That's the only consistent factor for sure. So obviously, being in a major program like Oklahoma State, they've produced a ton of talent, especially on the mound. What kind of elements have you taken away from their program, their pitching development, that you feel like is going to make you successful at the next level?
I think definitely just the mentality of how you go about competing. Baseball's a game with a lot of interesting things, right? And for me, one of the biggest things was learning to trust that all the preparation that went in on my side was going to go, how I wanted it to go, but as well as the preparation that went in on my coaching side. They did the deep dive scouting reports into every hitter we faced and everything like that. And it's just understanding that they have fully dived into, this is how you pitch to this guy, right? Especially pitching to my strengths as opposed to the next guys. And it was just trusting that and realizing, I'm going to go out there and execute what's being called because I trust them and I know they trust me to execute.
And how important do you feel like that is, especially given your exposure to so many different levels of competition, in terms of, and you perform consistently in each one, which obviously sometimes there's, a bit of a adjustment period and that kind of thing. You've remained remarkably consistent with your numbers throughout the process. So how much of that is, putting faith in the coaching staff and knowing, opening those communication lines and kind of knowing how to attack hitters no matter what level of competition you're facing?
I mean, I think it's everything, right? Having the ability to work on the same page with those guys that are helping you as well as yourself, and then honestly the other guys around you, right? Because you learn just as much from them as they learn from you and the coaches. And just by watching, even listening to the way you talk or go about your business is huge for everybody. So making sure you're on the same page with the coaches it's everything.
Right. Now, facing a ton of great competition in the Big 12, throughout your entire draft process, are there any hitters that stand out as a particularly difficult AB for you guys that you want to get another chance at, another crack at?
I can't say anyone in particular. I mean, there may be a moment that I wanted to get back or something like that, but I can't think of one particular batter or instance or anything like that. So
Yeah, and how the mental side of pitching is so huge. How do you kind of stay within yourself when you're on the mound, even if you feel like maybe early on you feel like you don't have your best stuff? How do you handle that mentally as you move throughout a game?
I mean, you got to trust. Like I continue to say, you got to trust what you have, right? And so let's say, for example, only your fastball and changeup are working for the first couple innings, right? You still have time to figure out the slider in between innings, throwing it, talking with the coach. So mentally, like you can't panic, you can't freak out. You got to go with what you have and find a way. Like that's what a pitcher has to be, right? You have to be able to pitch and okay, I only have a fastball and changeup today. Well, there you go. My changeup's going to be my ground ball pitch, right? And my fastball will be my out pitch.
Right. Now, are there any players at the pro level that you kind of try and emulate your game after? In particular, guys you think like, hey, this is like kind of the pitching profile that I have as a player, and I can see them succeeding at the big league level. Or are there anybody people look up to in that sense?
Yeah, for me, one of the biggest people is Walker Buehler. Biased, he was a Dodger for a long time, and now he plays on the Red Sox. But for me, he's just one of those guys that I always watch. And A, it's fun to watch for me. But B, he competes. Where you talk about if the pitch is working or not working. For me, when I watch him pitch, even if it's working or not working, he is still full attack mode.
Right.
A lot of energy. He has the versatility to be able to come out of bullpen or start depending on what the team needs and everything like that. So I mean, I feel like I'm very similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So alluding to the fact that you are a Dodger fan, I know that a lot of pitchers I've talked to, when I ask them who's one guy you'd like to strike out at the major league level, is it Ohtani for you, even though it's a conflict of interest?
I mean, I'd like to strike out anybody at the major league level because that means I have the opportunity to be pitching.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's obviously a lot of people that have helped you get to where you are. Are there any particular mentors or people that have helped guide you through this process that you're particularly appreciative of?
I mean, definitely my family. They've always been there. Whatever opportunity I have is because it stemmed from them and every opportunity they've given me. So they get the most credit first and foremost, and then probably just coaches I've had along the lines that have helped me out and just kind of guided me and really mentored me or took me under their wing.
Yeah. Now we're almost at the finish line of this process. Less than a month until the draft. Is there anything you wish you would have known about the process beforehand that you felt like would have been helpful as you went along? Or?
I don't think there's anything I wish I would have known. I just think the biggest thing is to enjoy the process. It's not something to freak out about or worry too much about. It's just one of those things where it's like when the time happens and the time comes, it will come, and whatever opportunity you get is still an opportunity to play at the next level. So.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's a great perspective to have. So, Sean, thanks so much for joining us today. Sean Youngerman, right-handed pitcher out of Oklahoma State University. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.